I was addicted to video games. I could have played 10 hours straight and not even notice it. But what actually happened is a lot more complex than just playing and having fun. And the reason why I was playing and what I was avoiding later resulted in creating the problem that I am still facing right now. There's always something that blocks us from success. The things that makes it more difficult or act as a distraction in our lives, preventing us in moving in the right direction. It is connected to a self-awareness principle, which gives you the ability to understand and realize that you have such a problem. So when I'm trying to overcome that over and over again, I notice a pattern that repeats throughout my life. But what is that pattern and why it occurs? It goes much deeper than I thought. Sometimes I just pretend that I don't know the solution, but when I think about it more responsibly, I clearly know that I'm simply sitting in my comfort zone. Because becoming insane a victim is a lot easier than start actually resolving the issue. It surprises and scares me at the same time, because in the moment of a downfall in life, it is unbelievably hard to decide or do anything about it. Because you feel tired and drained both mentally and sometimes physically. You find no meaning in anything that will give you inspiration or that feeling of a spark. It's usually related to thinking and placing yourself as the victim, not the initiator, but also trying to falsely convince yourself that you're at a dead end, which makes you actually believe that this is true, although it's only to justify yourself and consciously stay in a comfort zone. And when you realize it, it starts to make sense. What is actually scary is end up successfully convincing yourself that you're the victim, and live with that conviction and never truly express your true potential. Because at any failure, at any time, you can justify yourself and explain why you failed. This is what actually makes people stuck at this stage, and the longer you put it aside, over time it becomes much more difficult to escape this trap. I clearly remember the moment when I seriously started playing a lot. Before I was playing video games all my life, but only less than 1 hour a day, because I had a limit. And in order for me to play Minecraft on my tablet, I needed to finish my plan, which contained tasks like reading, handwriting, learning computer softwares like Photoshop and Premiere Pro. My laptop was good, but not good enough to use other high-demanding 3D softwares. So after some time I got a powerful PC, which gave me much more opportunities, but also unlocked the chance to play better games. And I remember watching a game I was really passionate about, in which I really wanted to play but wasn't able to afford. And in one moment that game becomes free, and what I do is just turned 13 years old, I go play it. And this is the moment when my life absolutely changed. It was the moment of a turning point to the other direction. This is important to know. Who I am today is the result of everything that happened to me in the past. And I can't blame that decision, because what happened next 4 years after that turning point, I learned so much about myself and gained a lot of experiences and knowledge that formed me who I am right now. And if that didn't happen, I would be a completely different person. The time passed, and my parents noticed that I started spending too much time in that game. And what happened at that stage is the beginning of forming a separate mindset in my life. I realized I can get so much dopamine, adrenaline, and emotions by just playing the game and not giving too much effort. And what really sad is those games are designed to get you addicted. There are two reasons for that. They're creating competition between players, which gives you a feeling of a race. And in order for you to win, you need to grind and improve to become better than others. Not only it creates competition, but also a reward system that continuously gives you wins and the feeling of success. That alone gets you to want to play even more in these systems. Because why do I need to push myself to read, learn new stuff, build useful habits in a real life when I can get the same or even more saturated feelings and excitement by just moving my fingers? Pretty logical, right? So it was for me. And what more devastating is I was only 13 years old. And at this age, it's even more influential and addicting, because the brain is still forming and there is no particular self-control that would resist that addiction. When you have such a replacement at that early age, instead of making an effort, going through hardship and achieve something in real life, you replace it with video games. It was obvious what I would choose. Thankfully, my parents took that from me at that time. And yeah, it was hard for both sides, but it was inevitable. So I had time to think about it, and after a couple of weeks, I calmed down and life continued. But that already formed a mindset that didn't disappear. It was hiding and waiting for the right moment. Time passed and I started to learn and explore new things. Everything was great. I was progressing and learning fast, plus building a project with my friends. And after a couple of months, I hit a burnout phase. Creativity dropped, project was too big for us. Just a little bit of context, I was learning Unreal Engine 5 at that time. I remember I was doing the course I bought, and I hit another problem in my code that I couldn't solve for a couple of days. All the problems accumulated in a big bubble that was about to pop, which later would result in a burnout. And eventually it did. I was quite pissed off from everything, but then I decided to start a new project because the first one was too enthusiastic and huge. But after writing a new project for a couple of weeks, I realized it is still big and complex like the previous one. The reality hit me. I was completely lost and irritated, so I decided to relax and start a gaming YouTube channel. It repeated. The mindset that was hiding returned. But now I'm not just playing but also making videos about it. But the person that I became playing those games and how much time I was spending on that, it completely consumed me. I didn't want to do anything except that. I was living there 24/7. Then my parents took that again. Long story short, it happened multiple times later. I had a rising and falling phases in my life, and pretty much most of the downfalls was related when I was returning to video games. But still, there's something I didn't tell you. You may ask, if you saw that a lot of problems was related to it, why were you repeated? I hit a dead end. For a long time, even before starting playing a lot, I was trying to find my purpose in life, and that's why I was trying a lot of things out, all mostly related to technologies, because I was realizing I need to learn skills that later would build me a successful and meaningful life. I faced a moment where I tried so many things that I simply didn't know what else to try. I was completely lost, and I didn't know the way out from that situation. And to get myself busy, I would invest it into video games. And after all these years, it is something that I avoid. It fills my mind with useless information that in my case I don't need, plus destroying dopamine balance. That's why you don't want to do anything, and nothing feels interesting. It's like you know what you need to do in order to achieve a goal, but not do it because you have an alternative that creates an illusion of happiness. Have you ever noticed when playing all day long, at the end you feel sad and empty? If you have that inner voice that tells you what the hell are you doing with your life, this is both good and can mess it all up and make things even worse. It is amazing that at least something tells you to change and gives you a hint that you're moving in the wrong direction. But if you perceive it in the wrong way, it can get annoying and make the situation even worse. So you start ignoring it and later suppress your inner voice, ending up in silence. But in order for you to start taking action, you need to become annoyed and pissed off at some point, so you start making any changes. Interesting, right? I learned this situation takes some time, but don't get me wrong, throughout your life you will have these moments. I think there are unavoidable stages or transitions which can mean multiple things. If you overcome this moment, you're entering a new chapter in life, or maybe it is a quick restart of your mental and physical systems. Or it's just what you asked for. What? Yes, this is exactly what you signed up for. Let me ask you a question. Do you truly want the life you desire? What a silly question, you may say. And yes, it is a silly question. In order for you to achieve the lifestyle you want, you need to change. And change usually requires going through discomfort, and by working on yourself in every aspect of life. You want to be fit? You gotta hit the gym consistently for a couple of years. And if you want to stay in shape, continue doing it. Want to buy a nice car or house, or maybe both? You gotta build, learn, and improve certain skills to achieve those goals. And it all requires self-control, energy, and patience. All this is good to know, but I want to find the way to manage those situations. And I think I found it. Discipline is not when you do something every day. That's consistency. Discipline is show up and do when you don't feel like it, when you're tired, losing passion, when it becomes boring or may seem meaningless. But still do it. And in order to train it and become resilient, you've got to show up the moment you feel absolute opposite. Maybe you're one step away from achieving your goal. Maybe you're almost there and you just need to make a couple more steps. You will only know if you commit to make those steps. Like, subscribe, and I see you in my next video. Bye.